All right. Hello and welcome everyone to the seventh episode of the Daily Roam. Uh, it's been a little bit since our last episode, but the last one was a good one. We had CCP Rise on, and we figured we'd, um, we said about 2 weeks, and it's been about a week and a half since the last episode, so a little better than expected, and we may actually have time to be doing it every week. We're not sure yet, but um. But yeah, so yes, there was a little bit of delay getting this episode out, but hopefully it's not been too long for you guys. Um, Other than that, a lot of great feedback on the last episode. We really appreciate all the support from the community. All the support we got on Reddit. We really appreciate CCP Rise coming onto the podcast and answering our questions and all of that. Um, I think I put up a commentary of me killing some stuff and talking about it, and I've been getting a little bit of good feedback on that as well. So I appreciate that, and there'll be some more video content coming out for people who like that stuff soon. Um, Other than that, yeah, thanks everyone. Thanks for tuning in, and we should have a pretty good episode for you guys today. We have been playing, so it's good. Yeah, I don't know. Anything you want to add before we start getting into stuff, Phil?
No, not too much, but yeah, I've just been settling into school and things got busy, so glad to be here.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So the first thing that we want to talk about is I might have actually uploaded a video about this too, but not actually put it on the channel. But we killed a chimera relatively early in the week, about a week ago. It was the first notable thing that I want to talk about. So I'm roaming by myself. I'm in an omen, the one that we've been talking about. I tend to overfly ships. Like we'll talk about it. We'll find a good fit. I won't like it the first time I fly it, and then I'll just keep flying it until I like it. And so that's kind of what I've been doing with that omen, is just flying it into the ground. And I've actually gotten better with it, I think. But so basically, yeah. Spill's doing like homework. I'm in a different channel. Like I have my TeamSpeak muted, and I jump into a system and I get a couple mining ships, a couple combat ships, and a chimera on scan. And I'm like, this is interesting. Um, I figured chimeras passed up or whatever. I'm in an omen. I'm not really going to fight a chimera or anything. So I warp to a mining site, and when I land, all of those ships that I just mentioned are sitting at zero velocity in the mining site. So, how do you feel about that, Phil? What would you be doing at this point when you land on a zero velocity chimera in a mining site?
Scream like a mofo in TS.
Yeah, and so I'm trying to scream in TS, but I'm muted, and my music's up too loud, and like apparently Spill heard me yelling from the other room, even though my comms weren't working. So I'm like, yeah, I'm yelling, and finally I unmute myself. I turn off the music. I'm like, guys, there's a chimera, blah blah blah. By this time, like the Drake and I can't remember what else there was there, but there's some other combat ship on field. They started locking me up. The best part is I'm flopping around, like I'm panicking. I don't know what I'm doing. I put my point on a Venture, which has built-in warp core strength, and I kill the Venture. I don't know why I was thinking about killing the Venture when there's a chimera on field, but yeah. So I dunked on the Venture, and I'm like burning off a little bit, trying to stay alive, screaming, linking the system, which is two jumps out for people. Um, and I don't know. In all of this confusion, I end up taking a lot of damage and having to warp out. So, I mean, normally, I don't know. What do you think? What do you think the chances are that chimera is going to get caught now that I've had to leave grid and not point him or anything? So, what do you think?
Almost nil. Like most of the time, like we warp into system and we'll be like, oh, there's a Thanatos right in the site, and we'll warp to the site, and the Thania will have like warped out like halfway through. And then they never like come back from the station in the pause for like at least
Yeah.
never. So yeah.
Yeah. So I ended up warping to the sun, and I got tackled by an Ares at the sun. Um, and I'm burning away from the sun, like all nonchalant with my drones on the Ares, and I end up blapping the Ares, and then their gang lands at the sun, and by their gang I mean a few combat ships and the Chimera, and I'm like, okay, like, people are still rallying. I was managing expectations on comms, but at the same time, I did want people to get there because this was a unique situation. But yeah, so Chimera's at the sun now. Right as I'm warping away, I notice that Chimera at the sun. I'm warping back to that mining site, and I'm like, oh, this is terrible. Like, I'm so bad at this game. Blah blah blah, and I'm all depressed. But I'm starting to get a good feeling. Like, this Chimera's it was mining in a belt. I swear it had mining drones out when I landed.
It had mining drones in the cargo hold in ore. So yeah, it was mining.
Yeah, so mining Chimera is best Chimera. And he chased me to the sun. So I'm like, you know what? The in-gate was bubbled to hell. Everyone hold, on the in-gate. We finally started to we had a couple Guardians and a couple Armor T3s, and people are still, rushing in to catch up with us. And I'm like, I'm just going to go warp into these bubbles, and I'm going to hang out here until they warp the Chimera into their own bubbles. And it worked. Amazingly enough, Chimera warps into the bubbles. I end up dying in the Omen. But we had a Proteus in there who had point, and I mean that's that really. Like the Chimera's fit was extremely terrible. He had an extra large shield booster fit. He had 2 rigs fit. It was just an exceptionally poor Chimera fit, and so the fight itself wasn't. I mean, they warped in like rocks and drakes and all kinds of cool things, but by that point we had 3 Guardians on field, and we were just anything they warped in, we could kill it. It was no big deal.
Yeah.
And without triage reps, I mean, I don't know, just terrible. But so then the only other thing I want to add about this Chimera fight, which was actually pretty funny, just the way it went down and we got it, is afterward, like one of their guys was talking to me, and I guess he was like an older player, and he was basically like, oh, like I was deployed actually like fighting, and the Care Bears were all like raging on comms or something, and I jump cloned back, but by that time you guys had already had everything mopped up. And then he linked me this flow chart, I think, right? Did you see the flow chart still?
I can't remember. Do you have a link?
I might somewhere, but it was basically like, oh, there's PvP to be had. Are you in a fleet? No, get in a fleet. Does your ship have a point on it? No.
Oh yeah.
Put a fucking point on it. Do you deal damage? No. What good are you? And so it was pretty funny. Like this like, hey, I've linked this PvP chart many times for the Care Bears, and they don't. So I don't know. That was pretty fun, but yeah, good good stuff overall. Those guys are pretty good sports. Afterward, they weren't super butthurt or anything.
You should talk about the pod reps.
Oh, okay. So this is the only other really cool thing. You can see it in the video if you look at the YouTube channel. But when I go down in the Omen, I have about 30 seconds left on my aggression timer. And Drake locks me up, and he starts shooting missiles at me. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to get potted. And then all of a sudden, I'm catching pod reps, and I'm like sig tanking or whatever. I don't even know what it is. But I'm tanking at Drake with Guardian reps on my pod for the entire 30 seconds to allow me to jump out and go reship, like out of the Omen and into our 3rd Guardian, actually, is what I went and gotten. But it was amazing. The pod reps were great. Like, that was super. Like, I didn't even ask for pod reps or anything, so it was awesome initiative from like you, Spill, and I think it was Headwar who's in the Guardian. Headwar who's in the Guardian.
Yeah, it's Headwar first, and then someone was like zoomed in or something, and they noticed like the effect go into your pod, and someone's like, "Oh, someone's repping your pod face." Or something like that, or you said it on comms, and then I'm like, holy shit, I'm gonna Guardian, I should be ripping his pod, I'm retarded. So
yeah, it was good though. It was really strong. Tanking that Drake with my pod.
It was amazing.
But yeah, super good shout out to like my alliance mates. I think Spill was already in the Guardian when it happened, and Dev was like first Proteus on scene, and it was good. Everyone, no one panicked. It was good. Everyone did what they needed to do, and we killed that Chimera. So then, all right, Spill. So you have a story you want to tell later, which was pretty fucking remarkable. You got a remarkable kill. So I don't know. Go ahead and start.
Okay, so later on, I'm solo roaming and like your standard ham caracal, and I go into some pocket. Is it the same pocket? I don't think so.
It's the same nullsec?
No, this is a different
pocket. Same nullsec?
Yeah. It's the same region, but it's a different dead-end pocket. Yeah. And so like I jump in, I hit D scan. I'm like, holy crap! There's a Nightmare and 3 Typhoon Fleet issues on scan, and I'm like, well, if I warp into that, I know I'm just gonna die in this caracal. So I try a different site, and there's nothing there. So I bounce to the station. I figure I'll give it a few minutes and see if they undock anything. And I notice there's still one Typhoon Fleet issue on D scan, and so I scan him down to a site, and I'm like, well, fuck it. If he hasn't left yet, then he's probably pretty bad. And so I warp in, and as I land, I notice he's like stuck on some rocks in the site, and so he can't leave. And so I'm like, okay, I'll start shooting at him. And the funny thing was, is like as I landed, I noticed he smart bombed me. I'm like, what the crap is going on? And it turns out that he was full smart bomb fit. And someone later on explained to me that like it's a certain way to run PvE sites. So you essentially just get like, I'm assuming it was 3 smart bombing foons, and then you fit to the lowest resist, and you run around and just pipe bomb the rats, which is pretty ingenious. So that was pretty fun. Yeah, the way I killed him is like, okay, well, I'm in Sanchez space, so the rats deal EM and thermal damage. So I loaded explosive, and I was able to kill him because he had no explosive tank whatsoever.
Yeah, and I know you had a little bit of Fraps footage of it, and like what ended up coming to try and save him? It was like a Kane and a Drake or something.
It was a Tengu. I know for sure because the Tengu killed me, and I think there was one other dude there, maybe. I can't remember. I should look at the kill hole.
Yeah, well, no worries. But
Yeah, well, no worries.
But you ended up exploding like one volley after you blew up the Foon, and it was super dramatic. And like you didn't mention it, but 1.6 billion ISK on that fucking Foon. Like,
Yeah.
so that was ridiculous. Like, I think I was like hanging out with my girlfriend, and I got like a frantic text message from you in all caps, like, just killed a 1.6 billion Foon in a caracal. I'm like, holy shit, dude. But
It was
pretty
great,
amazing.
man. Oh.
Pretty amazing.
I guess I should upload that. Like, I should do that. Because, like, on comms, I'm just like, I don't say I'm panicking, but I'm just like, please, for the love of God, let me kill this thing. Because, like, when it was about to go down, I was in, like, 50-60% structure with the Tengu shooting me. And, like, the Foon still had some structure to go, plus it was repping armor a little bit. And I'm like, please let me kill this. It was really close.
Yeah, but pretty remarkable. I was raging that I can never find dumb things like that fucking paladin you guys killed that was anchoring a bubble, like just dumb things like that. You capitalize on the dumb.
I think the Chimera counts as a dumb thing.
I mean, sure, but it wasn't a solo kill, you know. So like
I guess, yeah.
it's so much more impressive when you solo 1.6 billion. Like that Foon was worth as much as that Chimera, and I had a huge fleet kill that Chimera with me. So
yeah, this is true.
Okay, so the next thing is more about. It's not necessarily about the fights, although there's a couple that I had that kind of exemplify it. But it's about splitting people up is kind of what I want to talk about, and I'm not that great at it. I am no kill two. Spill and I were talking about this, like watching some of his old videos. How, like Spill's been talking about wanting to like brawl more, and I feel like, you know, the key to being able to brawl like in nullsec is being able to split the gang up, and I'm terrible at it. But I had a couple fights that actually it did work. So so the first way, if you're in a kiting ship, if you're in a fast ship, to split people up is just burn away a lot, and that's like, it's a really simple way to split people up because you know, frigs and fast things are gonna get out ahead of the rest of their gang. You know, the support's gonna be fast and be burning toward you, and the slow things that you don't necessarily want to fight, like dommies or whatever, are gonna be stuck behind, being really slow. And obviously you gotta watch. You know, if you get too far over 150, they can warp to their person, and then you have to split them up some more. But in this particular example, I'm flying a caracal around, And I'm terrible with damage types. I'm terrible with all this. So there's a vengeance, a really persistent vengeance in a gang of about, I don't know, 5 or 10 people, something like that. That sounds like a lot of people, but they were, I don't know, there were like a couple Dommies, Drakes, Canes. Like most of them were small or were big and fat, and not able to chase me. And I'm in a Caracal, Rapid Light, so Frigs are like right up my alley. So I'm burning around. I'm trying to split them up, and like I don't know. So Spill, what damage would you shoot against a Vengeance?
Probably thermal or EM.
Yeah, see, so I'm super bad at this, and the first time I warp to the sun, they all follow me. I burn off, Vengeance follows me, and I load explosive, and I don't deal any damage at all.
Strong.
At all.
Very strong.
Yeah, and so I let him kill my drones, and I'm dealing 0 damage to him, and I'm like, this isn't working. So I warp away. They've got kind of a rapier and some other stuff, and the situation's getting kind of dire. So I jump the gate, um, and I mean, okay, so rapiers like they're really strong. They have webs out to like 60k, something like that. But if you burn away enough, especially if they're behind you or slow or whatever, then you can still engage stuff with them around. But yeah, so I jump the gate, Vengeance chases me, blah blah blah, burning off. But the idea is basically in this example, one of the main ways to split people up is just to burn away until they're too far away from their gang for them to help them, and then kill them. And obviously I wasn't brawling, but and I didn't have that much DPS or anything. But I did eventually end up separating the Vengeance from his gang by burning away for just forever, and killing him. And I almost got caught, but I was able to warp out. But so the other way of splitting people up that I would talk about is splitting them by aggression. So, Spill, what is splitting by aggression?
So it's where you have people, like you're all on the gate, and you just kind of loiter there until like part of their gang aggresses you, and then you jump the gate. And obviously you never aggress back, so you can also jump back because of the aggression timer mechanics. And then, so what will happen is, at least most of the time, the other part of the gang will jump through and follow you. And so that's splitting by aggression.
Yeah, definitely. So, so yeah, in this this second example, sorry, I'm doing this thing where I'm like doing homework or something, and I basically just set a destination to from our wormhole to, I think it was like NOL or something in God damn it, Catch. Is that where that fucking region is? I don't know.
I don't know.
It's some place, whatever. And I just hit autopilot and I go basically AFK and I'm doing homework. And then all of a sudden I notice, I have 2 monitors, so on one I'm doing homework, and on the other I kind of look over and I notice that I'm about 7k off a gate, slow boating in, and I have a Cinnable, a Tyrannus, and a Talwar aggressed on me. Like, all shooting me. And I'm about half shields, and I'm like, oh, this is really bad. And so I hit the MWD, and I jump through the gate. So clearly they're all aggressed on that side. And I'm like, that's Cinnable, same thing. Caracal for Cinnable. It's not a good deal. I am ham fit this time, but it's not in my head. I don't want to fight all 3 of them for sure. And I'm thinking, well, maybe I'll take either one. I'll take either the Cinnable on one side of the gate, or the Tyrannus Tower on one side of the gate. That's kind of how I was trying to split it up in my head.
Yeah.
And because I'm feeling cocky or whatever, maybe I can take the Cinnable. But so what ends up happening is I burn off a tiny bit, about 20, and they don't chase me. Nothing happens. I get bored. I burn back. I jump back into them, right? And this time they're like, oh, this guy's so dumb, whatever. I don't know what they were thinking in their head. But the Cinnable aggresses me. So then if I'm splitting them by aggression, what do I do? Cinnable's aggressed.
So burn back to the gate and spam jump and jump through and hope the rounds and tower will follow you, because that's very engageable.
Yeah, exactly. And so I jump back through, and I don't even pull range, like maybe 1 MWD cycle toward the sun, to kind of look like I'm running away, and then instantly Talwar decloaks. And this is the best. This was like this was like staged. I don't even know what to say, but like tower decloaks, I melt him as soon as the tower explodes. Rannis decloaks, I melt him. And I'm just like, wow, I didn't even have to fight them together. Like, not that it really mattered, because Caracal, I had a web. So Hams with web is just dead. Like, dead anything small.
Yeah.
Dead anything small. And so I kill him. I GF in local. I burn off a little bit, and then the Symbol jumps in, and I'm like thinking to myself, okay, already an op success. I've killed the Rannis. I've killed the tower. Tower was like 30 mil. He had like meta launcher's fit or something. And I'm
Oh no.
yeah, and I'm in like a 30 mil Caracal, and I'm like, you know what? Like op success, I'm gonna fight this Symbol, and I'm glad that it went down the way it did because the Symbol crushed me. I, I think I loaded thermal. I don't know if that's the right call.
Yeah.
But I loaded thermal. I fucking tried to get in a tight orbit on him with the web on and like the MWD pulsing it, and I don't know. I exploded when he had like maybe 30% shields left, so it wasn't even a close fight. But
Yeah. I mean, personally, I would have tried to kite at like point range or heated point range because you would force him to fall off and lower his DPS, and you can still spew missiles to like 24.
Yeah, it was probably a bad call. I'm bad at fighting Cinnables or something. Like, I feel like I need a scram to fight a Cinnable, but then I feel like I don't know. I'll figure it out one day. I'll kill a Cinnable and I'll be like, yeah. But this was not the day. But regardless, I mean, splitting people up, it's really good. Like the generic, burn away, shoot the tackle. Like that is actually a form of splitting people up, and people do that a lot. But there's other ways, warping around to different places and like, warping to a planet that also has a Poco and like maybe a belt. Then maybe half of them warp to the belt, half of them warp to the planet, half of them warp. There's three halves there, but you know what I'm saying. And then you've got enough time for them to rewarp, and then maybe even hit your MWD, and it's like, oh, they have to rewarp, and then they warp to the, it's just whatever. But it's the idea of splitting people up allows you to take on a bigger gang with a chance of actually escaping. And I've been having a lot of fun lately, like actually killing things and then escaping, as opposed to killing things and then being like, I'm gonna sit here until they reship into enough things to kill me. I've actually been having fun, like warping away and getting another fight. It's a novel idea, but dying isn't always the answer, And I've been having fun with that.
Definitely.
Okay, so then changing gears, I guess. You had a 1v1, right, Swill?
Indeed. And this was actually in the same system as the Chimera kill, I think later that day, actually. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, so I'm like, well, they warped a Chimera into bubbles and we killed it. So I'm going to go back there and see if we can farm kills. And so one of our new dudes, Frank Zane, was with me. I'm in a micro-warping autocannon wolf. Standard fit, and then Frank is in like a rail Deimos that's active tanked. And so we land on station, and already undocked is like a Vindicator, like a Falcon, and then some other stuff. And I'm just like, Frank, no, we're leaving, run away. And at this point, I'm a little worried because I'm like, man, we have to burn back through bubbles, and if that Vindicator lands on us, like it could be GG. And so we bounce. And I type in local, like, yeah, definitely not going to fight that. And they're like, no, come back. The Harpy will 1v1 you. And like everyone in locals is like, yeah, come back. Like we promise, we'll be honorable. I'm like, sounds like a trap, but I'm gonna try it anyways because whatever, it's just a wolf. That one from Summer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so free wolf, whatever. And so I warp back. And sure enough, like the Harpy burns out, and no one else shoots me, and so yeah, had a 1v1 with the Harpy, and I won. It was pretty cool.
How close? How close?
It is pretty close. I think I was in low structure. I have the fraps sitting on my computer. I think I was like 20% structure or something, so it was really, really close.
Damn, nice, yeah. See, I am just terrible with assault frigs, and I don't know anything about wolves or harpies, so I wouldn't know in my head whether or not you should win that or lose that, but
Yeah, like it's definitely could have gone either way. I probably could have been better with the approach, and not let him get so close. But he had null loaded the whole time, which is good on his part. Because I believe the harpy has a optimal range bonus. So like I was never really gonna get out of um
yeah,
his damage.
yeah,
But yeah, and I had explosive loaded for that fight. And the thing is, like, it's kind of a hard call, I think, to figure out like what you should load sometimes because like on Caudelary Type 2, obviously, like kinetic thermal is a terrible decision. And I figured he's gonna plug the EM hole pretty hard, which he did. But he didn't do anything for the explosive, so it was base 50, I believe, and then whatever resistance bonuses he had trained up
yeah,
for it.
yeah. All right, yeah. Well, that's chill. Yeah, like I definitely tend to load null when I'm flying a blaster frigate, cause like the fight lasts 10 seconds, and or okay, whatever. The fight lasts 30 seconds, and the first 10 seconds of that is you guys just slinging past each other with your MWDs on. So it's like either you deal 0 damage, or it's like a third of the fight you're going to be dealing no damage if you don't have the null loaded, and then you're not losing that much for the rest of it. So it's usually a good call, definitely, with the null on that Harvey's part.
Yeah, I think so. Unless I guess if you had a web, then it'd be different. Like I think you could load antimatter for that.
I mean, yeah, like if you are going to get in close and brawl, but like when I'm flying like an Atron or something, even if it does have a web or is dual propped or whatever, if I'm fighting a frig, I'll load null, because then even so, at the worst case, it's going shitty. You just double click in space and heat that afterburner, and hope that like they have short range ammo loaded and you dunk them with your long range ammo as you burn away.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Frig fights are crazy. Okay.
They are.
So then I did some low-sec stuff. I've been trying to do low-sec more, and I've been failing at doing it and being motivated for it. I just need to find something that I like as much as like the Omen or the Rail Thorax or the Rapid Light Caracal. But it works well in low-sec. Like maybe I'm just afraid to fly those in low-sec or something, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure what my deal is. But basically, yeah. So I've been trying to do some low-sec, and the first thing we did is me and Mike, he was on our podcast as a guest, AU Time Zone Bro, we fit up some self-rep Galente ships. He had a Thorax, and I had a Vexer, and we were both dual rep, and we both popped some strong Exile or whatever it was. Yeah, I think it's Exile, and we could self-rep like somewhere between 700 and 800 HP per second. Like it was pretty sweet. We had some sweet fits going. And right away we jump into low sec, and Mike tackles the Thorax, and then Mike could have soloed everything. Like I was completely useless on this fight. So it's basically me talking about Mike and his awesome skills. But basically tackles the Thorax, he's knocking on it. I land. Mike was saying like they were both self-repping, so maybe he needed my DPS to break it. I don't believe him. Thorax is in like half armor when I land, and right as we kill the Thorax, like a Comet and a Firetail land, like one after the other, and we kill a Comet and Firetail, and it was just like, I don't know. So I guess the no real decision making here other than just shoot this, shoot that. But it was pretty cool to see like a dual rep ship, like dual rep cruiser without links, being able to actually like hold its own and tank like a boss.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we went around and we fought a bunch of, or not a bunch, but a couple other, frigs and cruisers here. No real like actual brawls until the end, where we ended up going against a Gnosis, who then had a gang of like, I don't know, 4 or 5 battle cruisers land on us, and we could not tank that. We basically got alpha'd off the field. There was like an oracle there, and it was horrible. But But yeah, like I've been seeing like not been seeing, but I've seen some videos of people in like dual rep Vexors, dual rep Thoraxes, like dual rep cruisers, and they're usually flying with links, and I'm like, oh, that's impossible to do without without the links. Like it makes such a big difference, but really just the drugs, man, like makes a really big difference. Like the links make
Yeah.
as much of a difference as the drugs, but I feel like you have enough repping power, especially with the 1.1 coming out and self reps getting buffed and all of that. Like active armor tanking is fucking broken right now. Like it's really strong, and I think there's a lot of
Yeah.
places for it. But then after that, really quick, like kind of in the same realm, we ended up fitting up remote rep Execure Gang, which is basically just normal Execures with a few drone damage mods, and I think we had hammerheads is what we had. And there were four of us, and you take the SIG drug, what is it, X Instinct, and our SIG was like, so Aldaf had just released that video. I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but that video of him basically using a stabber. Yeah, the stabber to SIG tank all the things. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, this is, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And very first fight I had in the RRX Secures, I tackle another Thorax in a Plex. And I just orbit 500 on him, and he couldn't hit me. Like, he literally could not hit me. My SIG was like 72. And I had my afterburner on, and it was all over for him. Like I could have soloed him, and it was actually really fun to do, and I was pretty excited about it. But then we eventually ended up going against. Well, it started out as like a gang of 10 Cyclones. Which, how do you feel about 4 Execures versus 10 Cyclones right now, Spill?
Honestly, I would do it because if you're in SIG tanking Executors, like missiles ain't gonna hit you for shit, but the newts are gonna be troublesome.
Yeah, so and that's kind of what it came down to. So I'm like, fuck it, let's do this. I'm burning off because I was in a bad position. I was caught out, and the Cyclones are chasing us. They're all taking gate guns, and we're dunking on them. Like, the bad part was that it was really hard to keep points on things because we had scrams fit, and so we're burning off, and like a couple Cyclones warped out in structure, and like I'm still tanking pretty well, and then like there's like a massive local spike, like 40 people, and they're all like Russians, like Russian corps. Yeah, I don't like, and they're all in like assault frigs and stuff, and they just swarm, and like right about that time I go down. But then there were 4 of us, so like Bjorn and Mike and I think it was Frank Zane, we're still fighting, and like they just get swarmed by frigates, like to no end. And a couple of the frigs took gate guns and died, but then
Nice.
then it was over. And but it was like 10 Cyclones. It was pretty like. The only reason I ended up dying was because I couldn't even run my afterburner because I was newted out too much, even with my cat booster. Like, it was just there were too many Cyclone newts on me, but it was really fun, and I really recommend doing RR Execures to like anyone. Like, it's just stupid how much they rep. Like 4 Execures has so much repping power. You rep out to 60k, so you don't even have to worry about anchoring. And the only thing that you have to worry about is like your DPS getting killed, but just micromanage your drones and pull them in if they're dying, and carry a few spares in your cargo for after the fight. Like, it was
Yeah, definitely.
it was awesome. It was super fun. But yeah, Spill, you're gonna have to try that with us because it was just I felt like a god being like in a cruiser sig tanking another cruiser. Like, it was amazing.
Yeah. So better or worse than our Vexors?
Fun wise, okay, so damage wise, definitely worse, but tank
Yeah.
potential definitely better, and fun wise, way more fun because like
Execure,
Vexors are
like
combat ships, yeah.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that was really good. So okay, so then we were both on this one, and it was a little skirmish. We took a Cyclone and a Talos into Ethereum Reach, into this pocket where I did my commentary in that pocket. I talked to a couple of guys in there. They're actually hanging out in our in-game channel, our podcast channel, and we went back, and one of the guys was actually in the podcast channel at the time, and he was like, "Oh, hello, we're gonna form up and fight you, blah blah blah." Basically, like, and we loitered around, and it took a little bit for them to form up, but they did form up. But Yeah, I don't know. Do you want to talk about this a little bit, Swell? What ended up happening first? What was the order of events, I guess?
Uh, Honestly, my memory is like, cause this is like a week and a half ago, probably. Um, it's I'm definitely rusty on this. Oh, yeah, okay, this is 11 days ago, but pretty much the part that I remember is that we were just lording around for a while, like going into different systems, seeing if they're forming up there, and I think eventually they. Oh yeah, yeah. So we're on the station, in RTAC 6, and hold on. And then so finally they undock, and like their gang was kind of too big for us to really take, but we just kind of cut it around because we're like, okay, we're fast enough, we can do this, and and we're shooting them. I think we killed a Talos during
Okay, yeah.
that first engagement.
I kind of remember what happened.
Yeah.
So we're warping around, we're trying to find them. We don't know where they're shipping from or what's going on, and yeah, our Tech 6. And you're chilling on a gate in in the same system as me, and I'm like about 100 off the station in my Cyclone. I think I was in, right? I was in Cyclone, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you're in a second.
And a Talos comes out and he starts afterburning toward me, and I'm like, this is unique, afterburning Talos, I guess.
Oh yeah.
And then basically, I'm like, fuck it, let's just do it. Like, it's got to be a trap, but let's just do it. Let's string the trap. So you end up warping in, and like perfect timing, and you land right as I like get point on the Talus, and then an Arazu decloaks and like gets the mad point on us, and I'm like, fuck, like burn the Talus down, and I'm like, you know. And right as soon as that happens, local spikes by like maybe 5 or 6. They might have had more, but I'm just gonna say 5 or 6. And it's clearly the dudes, the dude from our podcast channel, and like his bros or whatever. I'm not exactly sure what's happening here, but clearly we've sprung the trap, and we dunk on the Talus. Like, he goes down hard.
Yeah.
And then I'm pointed by an Arazu, and then like, I don't know, did you use EC drones or like? I don't know.
I think I did.
I
I
don't know
think
what happened.
I think I used dishonor drones on the Razer.
Yeah,
And
and then
did
all
you
of a sudden
escape
I'm
in like half
unpointed.
structure?
Unpointed. Yeah, I'm like mad unpointed, like half structure, warp away to the sun, like screaming, and Geos and local and all of that, and we jump through a gate into one of their systems without a station that there was no one in, and in the podcast channel they're kind of indicating to us, oh, you guys jumped out a wormhole, that's no fair, blah blah blah, and I'm like, we actually didn't jump out a wormhole, but I'm not going to tell them that because I'm in half structure.
Yeah.
And then we bounce around, we jump through some gates and stuff, and finally my shields regened a bit, and we're like, okay, let's do this. Because they've super bubble camped the 2G gate in R6. Ethereum Reach is where this was. And we're like, fuck it, let's just do this. And so we warp, and we're burning for the gate, and I don't know. I know my tank is not going to hold very well, but another Talos, same guy in the Talos lands, and we're like, fuck it, we'll take 2 Taloses, right? Was kind of our thought process. And so you were in a Talos as well, right? For clarity.
Yeah, it was. Yes.
Okay, so honorable Talos 1v1 between you and that Talos, and he had no tank fit, so you killed him like 3 hits. And then their gang lands like I don't know. It's like a couple oracles and then maybe another Talos and some other stuff, and this is really bad. And you're in a bad position, and I'm in a bad position, and I'm tackled by I'm scrammed by some kind of frig, and I heat. I heat my newt on the frig and end up burning out my whole fucking, like, all my guns. Like, I don't know how this happened. Like, maybe I burned a couple of them out while shooting. Like, maybe I overheated the whole rack. I don't know what happened. I was trying to mind my heat, but I burned out all my guns right as you explode. And they had an oracle, and it was just going into armor, so I probably could have killed it, but I didn't. And then we exploded and we died in a fire. But yeah, I don't know. It was fun, and like, mad shout out to those guys. It's a lot of fun fighting you, and I mean, I've never really gotten a good fight in Ethereum Reach before, so I was actually surprised and happy to find that pocket there and go in there and fight you guys and all of that. So I mean, that was cool and it was fun. Yeah, I don't know. I could have done so many things better in that fight, but there weren't any super crucial decisions other than I guess, after we dunked that Talus, maybe we should have left or something again. I'm not sure if there was time.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if
I
there was
guess.
time.
I don't know. Like sometimes I'm like, I don't want to save the ship, but other times I'm like A, too lazy, and B, I'm just like, I think we can get another fight because I'm like in structure, but my shield's regened a bit, and that's all that counts. Like I
Yeah.
can go for another round.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and if you're there and people are ready to fight you, then I say take the fight.
Yeah, I do agree with that, like pretty strongly. And I mean we'd already made our epic escape. We could have gotten away if we wanted, and we decided to fight some more because it was fun. But
Indeed.
so then I've been going to this pocket in Providence. I've been fitting out of Amar or wherever and going to this pocket in Providence, which is it's like the SI TAC I pocket or whatever, like Shintot, whatever. It's in like the top right of the map. And it's a dead end, and they end up forming up behind me and killing me a lot of the time. But I've actually been able to get some fights in there. And the only one that I really want to talk about, which was kind of fun and interesting, is I jump into system and there's this guy, and he's multi-boxing core axes, and I'm in an Omen, the Omen that I've been overflying, and he has 4 core axes. How do you feel 4 core axes versus my Omen? What do you think? Like, what's going through your head still?
I would definitely take that fight. Like I know core axes in large groups are dangerous, but I think 4 should be okay because you should be able to slaughter him pretty well.
Yeah, and so this
Or
guy,
hit them.
yeah, exactly. So what he ends up doing is I think they're light missile fit, and he ends up burning away from me, which is really terrible for me because I have to run my MWD, and like I can see it, like they're not hitting me very well. They're not hitting me very well. Oh crap, they're running out of range. I turn on the MWD, and it's like holy shit, like I'm getting alphaed off the field now. But I had to use the MWD to chase him, and I did make a couple mistakes and like didn't get my DPS going. I didn't heat my guns. I didn't heat my reps or anything like that. But eventually, I kill the first core axe. I get in the right range, and then it was just I was having so much fun. I was like yelling to people on comms about me killing core axes, and like at one point my tank almost failed. Like I dipped into structure, and then I started killing them, and I melted through all 4 core axes, and I ended up getting one of the pods too. And I don't know, it was a lot of fun. I really like that pocket. They're always like care bearing, but then they always get a fleet like formed up a little bit. I mean, it's always overwhelming, but sometimes you can kill 1 or 2 things before you explode in a fire. So it's good. It doesn't have the whole soul crushing feel of most of Providence when I go there typically, and they're fun to fight. But yeah, so then he came back in 3 multi-boxed caracals, and I ran away like a little girl. But it made me wish I had spotted a couple more of him, and then I could have, gone head to head against like the dual boxing caracals or something like that. But I didn't. I didn't pot all of them.
It's okay. One day.
Yeah, one day I will get. Man, I looked at our kill board the other day, and we killed like 10 ventures with 10 pods or something. I don't know how we do these things, but one day I'll do that by myself. Or like that one time where Ed soloed 7 ventures in their pods because they were all AFK on a cloud.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's remarkable how people do these things. But me now, I never get lucky. Never happens. Okay, so Kill It With Alcohol. You were there, right? You did that?
Yes, I was definitely there.
Okay. So before Kill It With Alcohol, we went into Curse, and we roamed around, and like we were using corpse ships, and things were exploding, and we were all having a good time, and kind of like pre-gaming for Kill It With Alcohol, And then so last week we did like an invasion thing, like on last weekend, and it was all I guess, God, we didn't talk about that at all, but whatever. We did some kind of weird invasion thing against
Repo.
Those guys, yeah, Repo, and ended up killing like 8 of their caps, and then losing a bunch of our shit, and we ended up coming out ahead. But I don't know, invasions are tough on everyone, and so this week for Kill It With Alcohol, we wanted to do something laid back, and so Hidden decided we were going to do like a gate camp, and so we formed up in Chunka or something, right next to Diddle, and KBP and whatever, Providence, and I got there way early. I got there really early, like maybe an hour and a half early, and it was me and Spill and Lily and Kasich, I think, right? Was that the initial team? And Chris showed up. Chris was on comms the whole time.
Yeah.
There were a few of us.
Yeah,
If I forgot you,
if I forgot you,
yeah, if I forgot you, I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure that was the main gang. And we set up a bubble, a really terribly positioned bubble on the gate, and I'm in a Heron, and gate camping Heron, man, this shit is sick. It has 5 mids, and it can fit a pro launcher. So I had combats out at the smallest, 0.5 on the gate, like set up perfectly. So if anything warped to a tactical on grid with us, I just hit the scan and then warp the entire fleet on top of them. And it worked like a fucking charm. We got so many kills that way. And then otherwise, I'm triple CBO'd 2,000 scan res, and I was long pointing anything. So whatever, gate camp. It's super chill. We're all drinking, talking, having a good time. And the surprising thing is, I guess, about this is that I don't know, Providence didn't form up on us. Like they didn't bring their 200-man fleet. And we camped it like that for maybe 2 hours. And right before, I mean, they did eventually form up on us, but it took them 2 hours to do so. And right before, a Vigilant ends up warping straight into our bubble. Like, no scout, no anything. And we get points on him, we get webs on him. Our dual web Firetail that we were using for webs ends up surviving in structure. And we blow up the Vigilant.
So boss.
Yeah, 700 mil Vigilant, and then we pod the Vigilant. And we don't look at his pod because we're idiots. But anyway, so we move on. Providence drops on us. We kill like a Foon. We trade a Dommy for a Foon. We warp around, like, whatever. Nothing too crazy happens. Camp gets broken up. We're moving on. And then one of our guys hops on TeamSpeak and he's like spamming a link, to our kill board in the channel. And we're like, what? What the fuck is this shit? And we look, and it's the Vigilance pod, and he was in a full slate pod. So 2.3 bill or something like that. So we ended up killing a 3 bill total Vigilant, just with like these, it was a couple tornadoes, a Heron, and like a Firetail or something. Oh yeah, Firetail, dude. Damn. Was it Legionos who was in the Firetail?
Yeah, it was Legionos.
Okay, so he was there too. I definitely forgot him, since clearly I remember.
Oh, and later
Firetail.
on, like, we're in low sec and Legionos tackle something still in his Firetail, and so he's taking gate guns, and then like he warps off in like 10% structure.
Yeah, it was
like we were screaming at him like warp off, and then like he just moonwalks out at 10% structure, and we're like, we hate you, but that was really boss.
It was cool. It was really cool. So Kill With Alcohol was super laid back this week. We're trying to do some bigger stuff in the future, but it's nice to just drink and play video games on a Friday with your friends.
Definitely.
What's a social life or whatever? But
that was my social life.
Yeah. Don't tell anyone that. But okay. So next, is
speaking of don't tell anyone.
Wait, what?
The next item on this list.
Oh, okay. So I tend to fail fit sometimes without realizing it. And okay. So anyway, I'm having this great roam. All right. Let's just start it with that. Like, I hop out into Jesus, whatever fucking region has had GP in it. That region. And I'm roaming around, and I jump into a system, and there's like a bunch of AAA. They're taking over the region, which I can't remember the name of, because I'm awesome. And there's like 50 or 60 of them in system. There's a Sino up on the station. There's like Titans and shit on my D scan. It was freaking me out. And like there's a little bit of tie-dye, and I'm like, okay, whatever, I'm fine, And I warp over to the station, I pop a Sino, and then a Naga undocks, and I'm about 20 away from a Naga. So, is that where you want to be when you're fighting a Naga? 20k away from a Naga, or where do you want to be if you're fighting a Naga? I'm in a Nomen. I didn't say this, but I'm in a Nomen. Same Omen that
you want to be less than like 5k.
Yeah, and so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna turn on the MWD, and I'm gonna burn under this fucking Naga's guns, and I'm gonna dunk on it. But whatever. My first shot takes like 30% of his shields away. And I'm like, oh, I got this. Like, I don't even care. So, and for some reason, I think it's like the tie-dye, and I'm lagging, and I'm not moving, anywhere near. Maybe he's burning away. I don't know what's happening. But the entire time, zero transversal, epic 1v1 duel with this Naga, and I end up killing him before I go into structure or anything, so I'm able to rep it all back up. So it was pretty fun. It was like 100 mil Naga, and I'm like, yes, op success already. So then I'm jumping through, gates and stuff, heading toward head GP, and I run into a bubble. It was the first issue, and I'm about 50k off a gate. And there's still a little bit of tie-dye in system, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to align and burn through this bubble. I have a couple bombers on scan and like a couple decies on scan, and I'm like, I'm going to align and burn through this bubble, and I'm going to dunk on them as they land in this bubble behind me, or whatever. That was my thoughts. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, my ship is just shit. Like, I'm not moving. Like, this tie-dye is crap. It's like, is anyone else lagging? Like, and everyone's like, no, we're good. What's going on? And I'm like, I'm just lagging too hard. And Tower lands in the bubble behind me. I blap him. Couple bombers land. I blap them. I end up, eventually burning out of the bubble and warping away, moonwalking out. And then I'm like, this is just stupid. This lag is dumb. I'm gonna get out of this system. And so I warp down to the gate, jump it, and there's a saber on the other side. So I mean, Omen versus saber. We've said it a million times, but like, even if nothing's happening, I'm gonna go for that saber because they're just coffins, right? Coffins, right? So saber drops a bubble, and I've actually been talking to some of the guys and bringing slow back about this, but apparently if you initiated warp into saber's bubble, it would give him an aggression timer, but no longer does that happen. And I thought I was pro by trying to initiate warp in his bubble and giving him an aggression timer. But apparently he just wanted to die because he aggresses, and I'm like, dude, I need to commit on the saber. He's gonna burn away, and I'm like, I'm still not moving. This is bullshit. Like, I'm only moving like 500 meters a second. My ship is broken. There's something wrong, and somehow and my inventory is full. I can't change ammo. I have too much loot in my inventory. So just Scorch for life. I can't load multi-frequency, but I end up killing the saber, and then like a horde of bombers decloaks on me, and I'm like aligned out. I'm spamming the rep, and I'm just, it's like a turkey shoot. I'm just killing bombers left and right, and then at this point, I'm like, this is bullshit, and I hover over my MWD, and I realize that I have a 1M and MWD fit to my fucking ship. So basically, all the speed of an afterburner with all the sig bloom of an MWD is at my disposal right now, and I'm just like, and at this point, I'm clearly gonna die to this gang too, and I'm just like, there's no escaping this. I'm about to die in a fucking micro fit. And I was just like, this is shit. But, I mean, can you imagine if I'd had a real MWD, man? Like, I'd have killed everything. Like, I'd have fucking killed everything. But I did kill a lot of stuff. And, I don't know. It was a good roam overall. Like, it was an op success. I killed a bunch of stuff. Naga, bombers, fucking, etc. Sabers. All of that. And then I died. So if anyone has been lurking the killboard and saw that 1MN microfit, it's a new meta. It's the best way to go. I don't know. Have you ever like fail fit your ship and not realized it, or is that just me? Like flying a fire tail with fucking heat sinks on it or something and dying?
I'm sure I have. Like, stupid. I think I've done it enough in the past that like I use the sort bar up at the top of like the inventory to make sure I have the right thing, because otherwise, I'll just drag like a micro warp icon from an item hanger onto my ship and be like, yep, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, I always sort for the modules, and I must have just typed in 1MN and just been an idiot.
Yeah, it's okay. It happens. Yeah. But honestly, new meta, like fail hack. That's what we should call it. Fail hack.
Fail hack, yeah. Undersized MWD is clearly the new meta, but but it was fun. I'm really liking that Omen now. I really am. I know you're hating on it or whatever, but
what? No, Omen is amazing.
No, you're like, I want to brawl, brawling for life or whatever you say now. The things that come out of your mouth. I think that's a pretty good brawl swag.
I don't think I don't say swag that much.
Don't lie.
Possibly.
It's just every
Maybe.
word out of your mouth is swag.
Swag, I'm in swag, 1MN, swag. God, it sounds terrible. Though I think it's still better than my mid-hugger Tengu idea last night.
Okay, yeah. So for people listening, Spill's like,
Ugh.
what if we did like slow cat
Slow cat
nidhoggers
nidhoggers
supporting
with
Tengus,
I have no idea where this idea came from. It was just
and then we had
like I was
to
driving. Yeah.
we had to educate him that if you go in triage, you can't launch drones. And his mind was blown.
Did not know. Did not know.
Yeah, capitals.
So I think
capitals.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna have to get a dread for my first cap when that happens. That way, and it's just like siege green, target things, press F1, things die, repeat process.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so then that's really it. We did have a fight yesterday, which in hindsight I guess was against Bomber's Bar, but we had like 3 or 4 caracals, or we had a scythe, 2 caracals, and a bellicose, or am I missing one?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and it was weird. We like warp into the gate and like I don't know. There's a bunch of like bombers and stuff, like hanging out.
There's a crow,
there's
burning around us.
Tackle. Yeah, and it was a weird fight. Like
there's a Navy Omen going like 6K.
That shit was off the hook. I don't know what was happening there. But basically, we warped in and out in a bunch of times, and then finally got into a brawl. But then our Logi died, and we didn't have a. We were really like trying to get them to commit the whole time, is how I felt, and so like I never really set an align point and burned for it, and so I just ended up being in a bad position when the Logi went down. But we ended up killing, our weight in bombers, so to speak, and all our pods got out and everything, so it wasn't terrible. But I don't know. I guess that's the same thing as like it goes with sometimes you got to take a deep breath and like take a step back and look at like what you're actually doing, because I was so concerned with getting them to commit to fighting us because they kept warping off whenever we'd land that by the time it was like, oh, this is clearly where they've committed, I was just in the worst position ever.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a sacrifice you make to get fights for your gang or yourself even. But it was, I don't know, nothing super remarkable about the fight. But yeah, we fought them for a bit, and it was kind of fun. And we killed some stuff. Rapid Light Bellicose was the hero we deserved. He fucking killed everything, and it was good. It was fun. But
yeah.
Otherwise, I don't know. I mean, that's it. We've had other fights. We've had things that have been going on. I've been trying to sort alts and not fail all my classes in school and stuff like that. But I don't know if any of you guys listening are going to eVegas. You should hit us up. We're going to be at eVegas. We may or may not have our tickets to the actual like lectures and talks, but we're definitely going to be there. At least at like the reception. And so yeah, let us know if you're going. If not, you should consider going. It should be really fun. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of people from our Corp and Alliance are going, and stuff like that. Otherwise, videos are posted on the website. We also have a YouTube channel, which is, I don't even know. Just find it through the website. I can't plug that shit. The in-game channel. We need more people in there. It's, the numbers have been increasing. Like midday on NA time zone, we'll have like maybe 10 or 12 people in there, and it's pretty cool. But don't be shy. Like, hang out, loiter. You're not gonna bother us. I don't care if you say anything. Just hang out and chill. And otherwise, yeah, the website dailyroom.com. In-game channel, all that. Reddit thread. We appreciate all the support and the bumps and everything on the Reddit thread. Not that there's really bumps, but the upvotes. All that. We appreciate all the support from you guys, and we're definitely going to continue to create content for you guys on a regular schedule. So, I don't know. In closing, anything else you want to add, Spill?
No, I'm good.
Okay, well, cool. So keep flying, guys. Keep killing shit, and yeah, that's it. Have a good one. We will see you in about a week.
Peace.